Hey guys, so for the forearm, I know it can be difficult, but if you have a couple memory aids, it's a lot easier. So let's start off with the anterior side. So for the anterior side, we're going to remember that 4 minus 1 equals 3. So there's going to be 4 superficial minus 1 in the middle is going to leave us with 3 deep muscles. So what are going to be these 4? You're going to take the 4 and you're going to grab your medial malleolus or your medial epicondyle, your medial elbow, and you're going to go pass, fail, pass, fail. The first one that you're going to get on the superficial layer is the Pronator teres. The next one that you're going to get with the fail, pass, fail, you're going to get the Flexor, Carpi, Radialis. So it's going to be flexing the carpals, and it's going to be on the radial side. So Flexor, Carpi, Radialis. I remember that it flexes the carpals or the wrist because when I showed you the 4, I flexed my wrist. So pass, fail, pass. The next one that we're going to get is Palmaris longus. The palmaris tendon jumps up when I do this motion, and that's how I remember that it's on the superficial layer, because when I showed you the 4, I brought my thumb over to make that palmaris longus tendon jump up. And if you can't find it on yourself, that's okay. Around 30% of the population doesn't have this muscle. So then for the last one of the superficial layer, we're going to have Flexor, Carpi, ulnaris. So it's going to be flexing the carpals and it's going to be on the ulnar side. So that was the 4 superficial. So then we're going to have one in the middle. The one in the middle is going to be the Flexor digitorum superficialis. And it's also going to come off that medial epicondyle. It's going to go and flex the digits or the fingers. So that was the 4 and the 1. Now we have the 3 deep. So remember Flexor digitorum superficialis? Well, deep to that or profound to that is going to be the Flexor digitorum profundus. The Flexor digitorum profundus is going to have tendons that they go all the way to the distal phalanges, and the Flexor digitorum superficialis is going to have tendons that just go right here to the intermediate phalanges. And I like remembering the difference between those by saying that profound people or like deep people will go farther through life with you than superficial people that are flaky. So that's kind of how I remember the tendon difference. So that Flexor digitorum profundus is one of the 3 deep ones. So there's 2 other ones. We are going to get the Flexor pollicis longus. So it's going to be flexing that thumb because the thumb is named the pollicis. And then for the last one, we're going to get a Pronator quadratus. So remember how there was a pronator up here on the superficial? We're going to have a Pronator quadratus deep here. And some people like remembering this as kind of like a wristband muscle. It doesn't go all the way around. It's just on the anterior side, and it's coming from the ulna to the radius, helping with that pronation. So what are the nerves for all of these muscles? On exam, just guess median, because that's probably what it's going to be. The median nerve is going just down the middle of the arm. So he's going to be doing most of the innervation. The next one is going to be the ulnar nerve. The ulnar nerve is going to be on the ulnar side, and it is going to be innervating 1.5 muscles. So it's going to be doing one in the superficial layer and one in the deep layer. The superficial muscle that is innervating is the the flexor carpi ulnaris. And then the other one for the 1.5 is going to do the half of the flexor digitorum profundus tendon, or flexor digitorum profundus muscle. And that nerve is actually going to be sandwiched in between those two muscles. So that was the anterior forearm. Let's go to the posterior forearm. For the posterior forearm, all you have to remember is counting to 6, counting to 6. You count to 6 2 times. So for the first one, we are going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that wasn't too bad. Hopefully everyone knows how to count. So we're going to start with 1. 1 is going to one muscle. It's going to go to the brachioradialis. So the brachioradialis, this is the brachium, and then it's going to the radius, which is this bone right here. So brachioradialis is going to flex the elbow, and then it's also going to help bring your hand into neutral. So the next one that we have, if you count 1, 2, 2 is going to go to 2 muscles. We are going to have the extensor carpi radialis longus and the extensor carpi radialis brevis going to these 2 metacarpals, extending the carpal bones on the radial side. Next is going to be 3. 3 unfortunately doesn't have anything, but 4 does. 4 is going to be these 4 tendons on the digits, so that'll be extensor digitorum. Kind of similar to extensor digitorum is going to be extensor digiti minmi. This cute little guy is your pinky finger, so extensor digiti minmi. So the last one is going to be 6 for extensor carpi ulnaris. So that was all of the superficial muscles for the posterior of the forearm, and most of those are going to be coming off this lateral epicondyle. So now that we did the superficial, we're going to do the deep. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what's going to be the first guy of the deep posterior forearm muscles? We're going to have Anconius. So we have triceps here, and I kind of remember as Anconius as a little tricep. So Anconius is going to extend the elbow just like the tricep. Then we're going to have the supinator. Supinator is going to originate on the ulna, then it's going to go to the radius and help supinate. So that was 1, 2, and now we're going to go to 3. 3 is going to be the start of the anatomical snuff box, which coincidentally has 3 things in it. So the anatomical snuff box is going to be that little area right there. So if you want to snuff something, it's right there. So for the first thing in the anatomical snuff box that we're going to go over is going to be the abductor pollicis longus. So remember that this is the thumb or the pollicis, and this is going to be abduction, because abduction is when you bring things away from midline. So this will be adduction, and then flexion, and then extension. So that was 3 for the 3 anatomical snuff box, and then with the abductor starting off, so 4 is going to be extensor. Remember how we just did extensor? We are going to do extensor pollicis longus. Then for the 5th thing is going to be the extensor pollicis brevis. And then the final thing is going to be the extensor indices, because this is your index finger. So For the anatomical snuff box, if your professor ever wants you to remember the insertion for all of these anatomical snuff box muscles, I like remembering it that there's three bones in the thumb. So the abductor is going to insert there, then the extensor pollicis brevis, and the extensor pollicis longus, in case you get mixed up and down that area, just going down like that. So what are the nerves that are going to be supplying the posterior forearm? Well, it's easy because it's all just going to be radial. So hopefully that helps. Everything on the back is going to be radial. Hopefully the forearm is a little bit easier now. So see you guys later. Have a great day. Love you guys.